Well, hello there, my fellow rushers. How are you doing today? King Rex here, and today we're continuing on with our hero review series in Kingdom Rush Alliance. Last time we talked about Anya, and she was quite awesome. But now we're gonna be moving on to arguably one of my favorite heroes in the entire game, Broden, my boy. I don't know why. He just gives me the real Morgan vibes. I don't know why. Like, he doesn't even look that similar to Trevor, but I don't know. He just gives me the real Morgan vibes. But anyhow, he is a flying hero, and surprisingly, he is not super expensive. Unlike these two, which cost whopping $7, I believe he is only $5, which again is a bit on the pricey side, but then again, he is a flying hero, so is he strong? What does he do? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, his base stats at level 10. 460 HP, which is not bad. I mean, he doesn't really need too much health because, again, he's an aerial unit, so the majority of enemies are not even gonna interact with him. So that's nice. Now, he doesn't have any armor, which, again, is fine. Flying heroes don't need resistances, in my opinion. But his damage is what may confuse a lot of people, because I think there is a visual bug. I don't know what causes it, but his basic attack never really truly shows his actual numbers, which, if you wonder what they are, he deals between 26 to 38 explosive damage every 1.5 seconds. Now, what does explosive damage mean? It means that he's kind of like a mobile artillery. If you hit someone with, let's say, 50% armor, he's gonna ignore 25% of it, which is kind of nice. That gives him some damage versus armored enemies. Again, he doesn't do true damage or anything, but he can ignore parts of their armor, which is nice. As far as mobility goes, he is mid. Like, he's not fast, he's not slow either, he's right in between, which is decent, I suppose. But now let's get to the actual good stuff about, well, him. Starting off with his first ability, we got Carpet Bombing. Throws an explosive that splits over enemies, dealing 32 damage each, and setting the floor on fire 8 seconds. I think it's supposed to be for 8 seconds there, guys. Burning enemies for 12 damage over 3 seconds. Now, how good is this ability? Personally, not my favorite. It does have a 20 seconds cooldown, so yeah, it's not super high. But you have to realize something. It says 32 damage each. So, in reality, the carpet bombing consists of 3 projectiles, not 1. So, if somehow you manage to hit an enemy with all 3 of them, the damage is pretty decent, 96 explosive damage. Not bad. Now, what does the 12 damage over 3 seconds mean? Well, it's basically the burn. Now, the area lasts for 8 seconds, so you can catch a lot of incoming enemies in it, and dealing an additional 36 true damage in total is pretty solid. It does require 2 enemies to proc though, so keep that in mind. And it has kind of an artillery shot targeting where it's gonna predict where the enemy is gonna go. So, if you use reinforcements right as he's about to shoot it, the ability might end up whiffing, so keep that in mind. Moving on to his second ability, Terror Shriek. The Gryphon produces a deafening screech, stunning enemies for 2 seconds and slowing them for 6 seconds afterwards. Pretty good utility spell, not gonna lie. Just similar to Carpet Bombing, it requires 2 enemies to be in range. And yeah, the 2 second stun is nice, but the slow is also not too bad either. Speaking of the slow, it's 50%. So 50% slow over 6 seconds on top of 2 second stun is pretty solid. And the ability, similar to Carpet Bombing, it does have 20 seconds cooldown, which is not bad. But that's only at the start, because I believe the ability gets shorter cooldown the more you upgrade it, so at max tier, it's only gonna have 16 seconds cooldown, which is really good because for half the time, you're gonna be able to stun enemies and slow them by a significant amount. So, Terror Shriek, pretty solid ability, approved. What is not solid, however, is the next ability. Exemplary Lead. Rains bullets against an enemy, dealing 84 to 126 physical damage. Now, this ability is very sus, because even though it says 84 to 126 physical damage, that's the total amount of damage. He deals small portions of damage rapidly. So, in reality, the ability takes time to execute its full damage. In other words, it's not very bursty. At least it's not as bursty as the numbers make it up to be. But the ability does have a pretty short cooldown of 12 seconds, so it's spammable, I'll give it that. But for the most part, I don't find it to be as good as I want it to be. Now, I forgot to mention one very important detail about Broden. Due to the fact that he uses, well, explosives, he doesn't really attack flying enemies on his own, which is weird. You know, having a flying hero not attacking aerial units is kinda, awkward. But this ability can hit flying enemies, so at least that's a little positive that I can give to it. But in general, the ability is like mediocre. Not the best, not the worst, just mid. What is not mid, however, is the next ability, Hunting Dive. The Gryphon dives into the ground to devour an enemy of up to 600 health. It's an insta-kill in other words. 20 seconds cooldown insta-kill for an enemy that's below 600 health. That's a lot. That's a lot of health. Because let's compare that to the, what was it called? Wicked Sister. The Wicked Sister has exactly 600 HP on veteran difficulty. So on impossible, you just need to do a slight bit of damage and then insta-kill them. That works against any enemy, regardless of their age, regardless of their tier. Because as I mentioned with Grimson, with his renewed flesh ability, he can only insta-kill certain enemies. For Broden, you just need to get them below 600 health, and they're easy pickings for his Gryphon. Really good ability, but not as good as his ultimate ability, Birds of Fray. I'm not sure if they were supposed to say Birds of Fray or Birds of Prey, I don't know. Again, there are some typos here and there, which are probably gonna get fixed with time, so ignore those. Summons Gryphons that fly above the area during seconds. During seconds! Good descriptions, Ironhide. Very good. So yeah, we're gonna explain this ability in more detail in a bit. But first, let's finish it. Striking enemies, dealing 50 damage each time. Now, we're talking about two Gryphons that have 1.5 seconds attack speed, so that can do 50 damage. Now, 50 damage. What is 50 damage? Is it 50 physical damage, magic, explosive? No, it's true damage. 50 true damage per Gryphon. And they have 1.5 seconds attack speed. So, what's the damage then? Well, we're talking about 33.33 damage. Well, in other words, let's just round it up to 33. So, 33 damage per swoop. And what's the duration, you may ask? Well, their duration is kinda hard to guess. It took me a while to figure it out, but I believe it's 15 seconds. So, let's do 33 damage. 33 damage times 15, that's 495. 495 damage. Yeah, that's a lot. Well, I'm not sure, maybe I'm doing the math wrong, but in other words, let's just say this ability has incredible single target damage. Like, we're talking 100 true damage if both of the Gryphons swipe the same target. That's a lot. Especially on bosses and mini-bosses, this ability shreds. And the cooldown is very short, like surprisingly short. I believe it's, let me check my notes, 35 seconds. Yeah, 35 seconds cooldown on an ability that does so much true damage. And keep in mind, the Gryphons stay for 15 seconds, so they're up for the majority of the time. Yeah, Broden, pretty strong. So let's test them out in the Blighted Farmlands. Let's just wait for the level to load because, again, it's the inversion, so it does take a little bit. And any minute now. There he is. Look at this beauty. Yeah, pretty strong. Okay, now you see the number, 26 to 38, but let's say we move him. Okay, I guess he doesn't want to change his values, but just look at that, 26 to 38. Remember this number, because it may not stay. So yeah, mobility-wise, as you see, relatively fast. Well, not the fastest, not the slowest, just medium movement speed, which is not bad for a flying hero at all. So let's just get this set up. Get scrapped! Yeah, you're gonna be scrapped, don't worry about it. Okay, first of all, let's put him up over there, just to showcase his AoE abilities. Okay. Come on, bro, then. Get in the action. So here's the carpet bombing, as you can see, 3 projectiles. Here's the Rapid fire gunning attack. Here's the insta-kill. Unfortunate that we used it on a low tier enemy, but don't worry about it. Okay, as you can see now, his damage got lower. 21 to 31. Which is bruh. Like, bruh. Come on, Ironhide. Keep the numbers consistent, please. I wonder if it's gonna switch again. Okay, it didn't, but again, the number got lower. So don't be deceived by these numbers. You saw the actual damage in the beginning. Okay, let's see, can we get the good insta-kill now? Okay, here's the stun. Insta-kill. There you go, we insta-killed an abomination. Yeah. Wish you could do that, Grimson, huh? You wished. You only wished in your dreams. You won't be able to do that. But okay. Let's move these two together. Okay, maybe not. Let's just unleash this. Come on. Pop! Don't worry, we'll showcase his ultimate ability in a second. Just give it a little bit of time. I want this guy to be out of range of the ballista, so you can really see the amount of damage that it can do. Okay. I think he's out. Yes, he is. Come on, not the scrap bomb. Okay, now he's too low. Okay, I guess we'll wait for a wave or two. Or you know what? Screw it. Let's just showcase it right now. Just so you can see how the ability looks. There it is. Boop! Down he goes. Now, the only problem with this ability, as you may have noticed, is that, well, the griffins cannot be moved. Once you place them down, they're down. And they're not moving anywhere. So that's a bit of a downside in my eyes. But then again, as long as you position them in a good way, they should be able to get the majority of their damage off pretty consistently. And as you can see here, they can attack flying enemies, which is really good because Broden himself cannot hit flying enemies unless he has this rapid fire gunning ability up like that. And yeah, they follow for quite the distance. As you can see, they went from here all the way up to there. So they can follow enemies really far up. But yeah, overall, Broden is pretty solid. Now let's just showcase their true potential up in here. Look at that. Look at that Cold Abomination getting deleted. It's losing 100 health every time they peck him. Look at that. That's an impossible difficulty, by the way. And we're just melting through them. Granted, the ability doesn't do very well if you have a lot of crowded enemies. But it's really solid for single target damage. So yeah, overall, is Broden worth it? I would say absolutely yes. And speaking of absolutely, I forgot to give Grimson a rating in my last video on him, so that's a bit of a oopsie. I'll give Grimson a 6.5 out of 10. But Broden deserves a solid 9. I'm a little biased, not gonna lie. I have a little bit of a personal preference towards this hero, so I'll give him a 9. In reality, he's probably more of a 8, maybe 8.5, but I'll round it up to a 9. Because, in my opinion, he is really solid. Also, what was that lag spike? Jesus. Ironhide optimized the game. That was not normal. I never had this lag spike before, just so you know. Alright. Well, that was awkward, but with that out of the way, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future. And while you're at it, drop a like on the video. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you in the next video. Until it comes, that was King Rexy. Over and out.